So, good morning, everybody. I want to welcome you to the March 12th, 2024 meeting of the Calvert County Board of Commissioners. At this time, I'd like to ask Reverend Dana Jones to come forward and give us an invocation.
Let us pray. O divine Creator, we come this day with thankful hearts, thankful for grace and mercy that has delivered us to this place, thankful for the ways in which you have blessed this wonderful place that we call Calvert. Now, God, we invoke thy presence as this august body goes into deliberations. God, we pray the presence of your Spirit, that in all things, that their work will glorify you, dear God. God, we pray for wisdom from above, that as they deliberate, that they might be moved by you. We pray for peace is what this place desires. It is a tranquil peninsula, so give us peace, we pray. And finally, in all that we do, may we love one another as communities are called to love, that again, in all things, you will be given all praise and honor. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I want to thank Reverend Dr. Dana Jones from Mount Olive Church, and I'm going to brag on you. Dr. Jones and I were class of 73, Calvert High School.
That's right.
And
That's just the best class ever.
yes. And lucky for me, J is before H, and I got to sit next to Dana, and I could look over his shoulder, so thank you for helping me graduate from Calvert High School. The last single class of Calvert County, because Northern High School graduated a class in 74. So for those of you that don't know your history, we only had one high school back in the day. Good to see you, Dr. Jones.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye now.
At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Make a motion, we approve the agenda as presented.
Second?
Sorry, with an amendment to add executive session pursuant to 3-305B8 to discuss litigation.
That's fine, too.
Thank you.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda, the additional agenda item. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. I do have a couple of public service announcements today. Unfortunately, we have a very bad trend of starting out our public service announcements with condolences, but at this time, we want to send our condolences to the family of Verma Hilson, who was bailiff for the Calvert County Circuit Court. Want to keep her family in your prayers. Also, Jim Richardson, who is Division Chief with Department of Public Safety, for the loss of his father, who passed away last week. So we'd like to keep those two families in our prayers. Tonight at 7 o'clock at the Southern Community Center, we'll be holding a public hearing for the Chesapeake Ranch Estates Special Tax District. You can contact the county attorney at calvertcountymaryland.gov for further information, or you can call 535-1600 extension 256. But that hearing will be tonight at 7 p.m. at the Southern Community Center. And also, we'll be having a public hearing for our staff recommended budget on March 19th, 7 p.m. right here in this court hearing room. If you need more information, you can go to the calvertcountymaryland.gov FY25 on our website to get information. And hard copies will be available at the public libraries if you're bored and can't get to sleep. That concludes my public service announcements for today. First item on the agenda is a proclamation. Commissioner Arlen, National Senior Nutrition Program. Mr. Sullivan.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ed Sullivan, Division Chief, Calvert County Office on Aging Community Resources Department. If it be pleasing to you, before I make a few remarks, I'd be happy to have a few folks who are involved in the program come up and introduce themselves, if it be pleasing to you.
Please do.
To join you up front. Okay. If I may, the staff, if you could come up, and Meals on Wheels also. If they could come up and introduce themselves, that would be good. Thank you.
Hello. Oh, good morning. My name's Sean Reardon. I'm the food service coordinator at Southern Pines Community Center. Senior Center, actually.
Come on up.
Come on up, sir. Yep. Hi, good morning. I'm Carla Shawver. I'm the food service coordinator at North Beach Senior Center.
Good morning. I'm Christy Owen, Program Manager at Calvert County Office on Aging.
Good morning, I'm Tracy Andrusick. Thank you. I'm from Calvert Pines Senior Center.
Harry Markward, food service worker. I pick up the meals from the caterer and take them to those people there.
Good morning, everyone. Sheila Gallagher, dietitian.
Good morning, everyone. Michael Hawkins, Director of Meals on Wheels Calvert.
Commissioners, if I may, just want to say a few words of thanks and gratitude to you for your support. We're thankful to have Mr. Hawkins here, the president of the Calvert Meals on Wheels, of course replacing Cheryl Henley, who was in that role for many, many years. As you know, there are drivers out right now delivering meals to seniors in our county. And of course, we have substitute staff who also serve in the program. We have many people in the Office on Aging who serve meals every day. But we're thankful for you because, quite frankly, I say this all the time, but it's true. I don't know if the public knows, and I'm not just saying this because it's budget day. But the fact of the matter is that our commissioners support all of the Office on Aging staff who are up there today. Our commissioners provide our salaries. Our commissioners provide fringe of every staff member, including the division chief standing in front of you. And we take that responsibility very seriously. And because without you, it doesn't happen. We have the privilege of serving because of your entrusting the responsibility with our staff. And we want to thank you for that. We have a wonderful director, Jennifer Moreland. We're thankful for her support, thankful for our county administrator office. And nothing happens in a vacuum. It's a team, and we are thankful for you. So thank you for your support. I know you're going to read the proclamation, Commissioner Ireland, and we're thankful for what you do, and we appreciate you very much. Thank you.
Thanks. Come on up, if you would. So, it is a shame that people have to worry about where their next meal's coming from. The job you guys do to get food to our seniors, to make sure they don't have to worry about that, is second to none. It's a very important job, and we all appreciate what you do day in and day out. I know the volunteers are a huge part of this. So if anybody out there listening wants to become a volunteer for Meals for Wheels, they're always looking for drivers. If you're able to help, you have time in your schedule to be able to help, I'm quite sure they'll take whatever they could get. It'd be greatly appreciated. Without further ado, I'm going to read the proclamation. Whereas since 1972, the National Senior Nutrition Program has funded local agencies and organizations to serve home-delivered and congregate meals that help to ensure older adults have opportunities to stay healthy, independent, and connected. And whereas more than 10 million older Americans face hunger each year, and local senior nutrition programs help older adults access healthy foods, provide nutrition screenings, education, and counseling, create social opportunities, and offer other supports that encourage well-being. And whereas the Calvert County Office on Aging is an integral part of Calvert County by providing sustenance and so much more to our older citizens, especially those who are most vulnerable to social isolation, chronic disease, and other health challenges. And whereas the Calvert County Office on Aging and Calvert Meals on Wheels makes a positive impact on our community and its senior members, as demonstrated by serving 42,573 meals to Calvert County's older adults during 2023, an average of 3,547 meals monthly. A total of 1,252 senior citizens benefited from this important service. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Calvert County that March 2024 be observed as the 52nd anniversary of the National Senior Nutrition Program. Be it further proclaimed that this action of the Board of County Commissioners commends all those committed to providing support to our older adults through nutrition services, ensuring they continue to thrive and remain essential contributors to the strength and vitality of our community. Given under our hands and seal this 12th day of March, 2024.
You guys have a good one. All right. So the next item on the agenda is a proclamation to celebrate National Girl Scout Week. And before Commissioner Grasso starts, I just want to say, being a county commissioner, we have the privilege and honor to attend a ceremony every year where they recognize Girl Scouts for their achievements as they move up the different ladders in scouting. We just want to take this opportunity to thank all the volunteers. You hear me say at those individual events what a great organization it is, that you all volunteer your time to help these young girls achieve great things and set them on a course for their lives to be good citizens and good people. Just want to take this opportunity publicly on camera to thank all of you that volunteer, especially the parents that take their time to bring their kids out to the different events. But without the volunteers, there'd be no organization. So publicly, wanted to thank all of you. So for that, Commissioner Grasso, sorry.
Jeannie, you want to come on up?
Good morning, County Commissioners.
Good
My name is
morning.
Judy Carroll. I'm Service Unit Manager of 11-9. Yes, I'm short, thank you. I brought with me this morning Girl Scouts from across our county, from 11-7 and 11-9, the two service units we have, and volunteers as well. I'm gonna have them come up and introduce themselves and come up there and stand beside you, and they brought you cookies too. Come on up.
Best day all year.
Jeannie, come on up.
Christy Ide. I represent Service Unit 11-7 in the north end of the county, volunteer for the service unit as well as Troop 11028.
I'm Aubrey Ide.
Oh, boy.
Hi, my name is Hi, my name is Lily Young, and I represent Troop 11009.
Hi, my name is Mariska Ledwich, and I represent Troop 11009. Hello, my name is Mia Moore, and I represent Troop 11009.
Hello, my name is Manon Godfrey, and I represent Troop 11009.
Hello, my name is Eva and I represent 11074.
Hello, my name is Lana Hall and I represent Troop 6333.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Woodward, and I represent Troop 6333.
Hello, my name is Shelby Horty, and I represent Troop 11052.
Good morning, my name is Tiffany Horty and I represent 11052 and 11068.
Good morning, my name is Shauna, and I represent Troop 11068.
Melinda, Julius. Tiffany, Angie.
Hi, my name is Melinda Godfrey, and I represent 11037.
Hello, my name is Julia Ledwich, and I represent Troop 11009 and the service unit.
Good to meet you.
Well, welcome, everyone. And like President Hance said, all you volunteer ladies who are leading these young women, this is just wonderful. I have a granddaughter who was 2 weeks ago, she went on a lockdown with her troop and some other troops, and she's 14 now, and she has reached the point where she was a counselor, and she was helping out. And I've watched her grow. I've watched her confidence build. Her value as a young lady is very, very evident. She's a leader. She's confident. She plays in a youth orchestra, and she just got into the high school of her choice, and the sky's the limit. I can't say enough about scouting for you young ladies. It is absolutely wonderful, and thank you all for leading these young ladies. So we're going to proceed with the proclamation. Whereas founded in 1912 by Julia Gordon Lowe of Savannah, Georgia, March 12, 2024 marks the 112th anniversary of the Girl Scouts of America. And whereas throughout its distinguished history, the Girl Scouts of America has inspired millions of women and girls to aspire and achieve the highest standards of courage, confidence, and character. And whereas there are approximately 1,000 active Girl Scouts in Calvert County and over 60 million legacy Girl Scouts across the globe, the Girl Scouts work hard to aid in their local communities and to take initiative to make the world a better place. And whereas Girl Scouts don't just sell cookies, they provide multi-generational community service, helping those that cannot help themselves or those in need of assistance. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Calvert County that we recognize March 10th to 16, 2024. Oh, I'm sorry, I read it wrong. March 10th through the 16th, 2024, as Girl Scout Week, and congratulate all Girl Scouts in Calvert County on their admirable service. Be it further proclaimed that by this action we have faith in the ability of today's youth as they assume their roles in society. Given under our hands and sealed this 12th day of March 2024, signed by all county commissioners. Can I just say one thing? And I also, I would be remiss if I didn't mention my granddaughter who is in scouting. My daughter-in-law has been with her and her fellow scouts every step of the way. She works full-time, like all we mothers do, and she makes the time because, like you leaders, she feels it's very important for her daughter and the other young ladies. So, again, thank you.
So we knew you were coming, so we took up a little donation to help cover the cookies. But then you showed up with so many cookies, we took up another donation. And I don't think Mike Hart's going to be able to eat lunch or dinner today. We cleaned him out, everything except his coins.
I even went out to the glove box this morning. I was like, uh-oh.
So we want to give you this and to show our appreciation for your cookies. We greatly appreciate you bringing us cookies. And thank you for everything you do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Catherine, they prefer cash over
I know, this one fancies the coin.
So what we're gonna do real quick is when you get a chance, can you put your, the cookies at the table so we can get a really pretty picture for you guys? Thank you so much.
You can put them over here.
That's gotta be a record.
Oh, he's definitely trying to steal them. Thank you.
First donation, when we start.
And we thank you all. Thank you. Thank you all for doing this proclamation. Oh, yes, absolutely. Handed it to them right after you gave it to me.
We're used to it.
Here we go again.
Wow, look at all those cookies. My goodness. Look at that.
You guys see the ones for me? Right here, yeah, we'll scoot it over here, yeah. One or two more on the side, please.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
So when is the, it's coming up soon, isn't it? The ceremony? It's
The
usually in the
ceremony will
spring.
be May 16th
May 16th.
at Trinity Church.
Oh, at Trinity?
Yes, sir.
Not going across the river no more?
Not this year.
All right.
Oh, not a problem. Thank you. Have a great day.
So that brings us to consent. Today, we have 4 items under consent. Item 1, Department of Parks and Recreation, FY 2024 Program Open Space Cove Point Basketball Project D4. Item 2, Department of Community Resources, Developmental Disabilities Administration Provider Renewal. Item 3, Circuit Court for Calvert County, Office of the County Court Administrator, FY 2025 Adult Treatment Court Grant Application. Item 4, Department of Economic Development, Grant Application for Prince Frederick Armory Pavilion Cold Storage and Commercial Kitchen. Are there any objections to the items under consent today? None. Hearing none, those items will be adopted as presented. That brings us to a work session. Office of the County Attorney, Special Tax District Petition of the Board of Directors of the Property Owners Association of Chesapeake Ranch Estates Incorporated. Mr. County Attorney.
Morning, Commissioners. John Norris, County Attorney. The Property Owners Association of Chesapeake Ranch Estates, often called POACR, submitted as previously sought and obtained approval for a special tax district for the residents of the Chesapeake Ranch Estates subdivision, most recently by Ordinance 20-23. The 6th special tax district expires on June 30, 2024. The Board of Directors of the Property Owners Association of Chesapeake Ranch Estates have submitted the enclosed petition requesting that the county assist them in raising funds for community infrastructure by assessing a special tax on all properties in the Chesapeake Ranch community in the amount of $275 per lot per year for the next 5 years. The petition is complete and does comply with the requirements of Title IV of the Calvert County Code, Section 4-101B. A public hearing has been duly advertised for tonight at 7 p.m. This is a presentation of the slides to let you see what has happened over the years, how they've spent the special tax district funds, and specifically what they plan to do. We'll see what they plan to do tonight, what they present their petition. So they say they need a special tax district because they have minimal money in their homeowners association. They maintain improvements made with special tax district proceeds that have already been applied to the community and continue to make improvements to infrastructure. The POACR is the Homeowners Association's Board of Directors for the Homeowners Association. They're originally conceived as a private neighborhood with controlled access entrances and private roads. We know that has transitioned to the point where the roads are semi-public, but still privately owned. That is, the public is allowed to traverse those roads to school buses, mail service, those UPS, FedEx, all use these roads. There's 63 miles of private roads. There's 11,000 residents. There's 5,500 lots and 4,100 homes. Money collected from the special tax district has been spent only on roadway improvements, and all revenue received in expenditure of money from the special tax district are audited at POACR's expense. So we see pictures from I believe these are from the 70s, Big Sandy Run Road, a dirt road. That's Commissioner Hart's vehicle in the background there on the second picture.
No, it's not on blocks.
No. Well, he had a bicycle at that time too, so. Bootstrap Trail was a dirt road, has been improved. Stirrup Lane had millings applied. So they're collected pursuant to they have a declaration of covenants for the homeowners association. They do collect a road fee. In 2024, that road fee is $236.41 per lot, which equates to nearly $1 million. Covenants require 50% plus one of all property owners to alter the road fee, which is impractical. One of the reasons the legislation was adopted in Annapolis that allows the Homeowners Association Board of Directors to act on behalf of the Homeowners Association is that communities this size will not necessarily ever get 50% of their homeowners together to vote on anything. So this was legislation that was put in, I believe Senator Miller sponsored it. It has been used successfully in places like Vera's White Sands. That was a special tax district that was started. They brought the roads up to public standards and returned over to the county, and that special tax district ended. with 63 miles of roads, the topography, the width of the roads, the vertical curves, the horizontal curves. It's not likely that Poe Acre will ever get to the point where Vera's White Sands found themselves, where they were able to turn the roads over to the public. The state-generated revenue provides Poe Acre approximately $40,000 in highway user revenues. That was obviously before whatever this session of the General Assembly does to the SURE funds. Those are called SURE funds. They have payroll, equipment maintenance, road right-of-way maintenance, roadway maintenance, and they have a required reserve fund that they all fund with their road fees and part of the special tax district. They have more than 40 major projects completed since 2018. Travis was here. Travis Scott is the president of Poe Acre, who was here in, I believe it was November, presented this list to you. The Lake Lariat Dam was one of those projects. Gunsmoke Dam, that is after the work was complete. So they have benefits for the special tax district. They get FEMA assistance and reimbursement for disasters. The special tax district fee is spread over 12 months for those who have property tax escrow and held by their mortgage companies. So the $275 is not necessarily paid all at once on September 30. They pay it into their mortgage, and their mortgage company holds it in escrow and pays it out when the taxes come due. Roadway and drainage infrastructure are improved and maintained in good repair, making the roads passable. Roadway improvements reduce owner vehicle maintenance and expenses by filling potholes, by maintaining the road surface. U.S. Post Office, we talked about, is able to deliver packages and mail. The county benefits are aid for first responders, and school buses are allowed to traverse those roads, as well as the public transportation buses of Calvert County. Roadway drainage improvements count towards the county's MS4 permit requirements. Apparently, I ran out of battery, Daryl, if you wouldn't mind.
That's the last slide.
That is the last slide. So if there are no questions, we'll be hearing from the residents, I'm sure, this evening. We do expect a large turnout because there was not a large turnout last year. The Board of Directors was not pleased with the outcome, so they have made a concerted effort to encourage folks to sign up tonight and show up.
John, what I wanted to ask is, I just want, just because social media, you get a lot of questions and, you know, what are supposed to be facts. One, I believe to be a misnomer, and you tell me if it's correct, is we do not charge an admin fee to collect this money.
That's correct.
County gains no way financially whatsoever in collecting these funds, correct?
Every penny that is collected for the special tax district goes back to the special tax district.
That comes up every time in this, that, you know, the county's making money on it, holding it, investing, all this stuff, but there's no financial benefit whatsoever.
No, sir.
Okay. And I've been consistent with this. This is 9 years. I'm not disputing the money. I'm not disputing any prior votes, anything like that. I remember every one of those pictures. So I remember when the road collapsed, you still can't go all the way through Golden West Way. There's an issue. I remember all of that. The consistent message that I've always been is I was at the very first one. It was supposed to be 5 years. And it is, what did this thing say? It was, what's it say, the seventh one now?
This is now the seventh.
So that goes into what are we now, going on? It'll be 35 years when it's completed, something like that. So my consistent thing is, and I've said it many, many, many times, is that there was supposed to be an alternative plan, and this is the same one. So I believe $10 would qualify per lot for FEMA protection, right?
If there were a special tax for $10, they would be eligible.
That's been my motion for a while anyway. I know we're not doing that right now, but I just want to get it on the record because, you know, this comes up, and you know, I'm right there, so I hear it quite a bit, and I wouldn't say that nobody ever comes in and says that that they don't want this to happen, but most people don't want it. And another clarification, we don't petition CRE to do this. We don't go knock on the door and say, please, can we come in and do this special tax district? This was put in years and years ago, and stop me if I'm wrong in any of this, by law now, we have to perform this function. Every, 4 years, 5 years?
Well, it's, every time you have a petition from a homeowners association that is registered with the state of Maryland. So that once they cross the threshold of having a legitimate homeowners association and a petition signed by their board members, the county has no choice but to conduct a public hearing.
Yeah, there's some diabolical scheme that we want to go in and meddle in anybody's business. I don't want to tell you what to do at your house. I don't think that's my place. It's your homeowners, and I've been a big fan. If you want more money, then get together as a group and increase your HOA fees. They can do that anytime they want. Isn't that correct, John? If they get over 50% turnout, whatever, I mean, it is
Correct.
your homes, your property, your thing. So I don't believe, that that's my job to do. And I think I have this talk every 4 years or what have you, and then I'll get on Facebook and read the comments, and a lot are positive, but there's a whole lot like corrupt politicians and all that stuff. I don't make $1 on this. No one up here makes $1 on this. Everybody wants what's best for everybody. So I know it's long. I do this for 5 years. It's just my stance. It's been consistent, and I just don't want anybody to think that that there's some scheme to get money out of citizens or anything like, because that is not the case. Thank you.
But, Mr. County Attorney, the purpose of the tax district is so they can collect the fees. If the HOA just raises their fees, there's really no legal requirement for them to pay those fees, are there?
Well, that was what we heard at the last public hearing, is that the homeowners association collects maybe 70 to 80% of the fees that they assess, and there are costs associated with some of those through attorneys' fees for collections. Whereas property tax, special tax district shows up on your property tax bill. It's enforceable as though it were property tax.
Right, and for those individuals that don't pay, they'd have to hire a collection agency or go through some legal process, which would cost them money in the end. It doesn't net. And, and we all hear the complaints from those individuals that don't want to pay, but they have 65 miles of road in that community. And as we know what it costs to maintain a road, this fee will only generate $1 million. And that may sound like a lot of money until you start maintaining 65 miles of road. I think what are we paying now, $300,000 or $400,000 a mile to resurface blacktop?
Yes, sir. And that can actually go up based on whether or not you have to prepare or repair the shoulders, replace the pipe, asphalt width of the road. So yes, that's a starting point, and it goes up from there.
And I understand that when this was started, Commissioner Hart, people were said, oh, in 5 years, we're gonna get this all taken care of. Well, somebody didn't really do their homework to understand what it was gonna cost to maintain 65 miles of road. And $1 million is nothing to maintain 65 miles of road. So I understand that they don't want to pay it, and that, it puts us in this situation of meddling in their business. But without that revenue, those roads are going to fall apart. If we get a snow, who's going to clear the snow? That's what all this money goes towards. So for those individuals, we could eliminate the fee, but I can assure you that when they can't get out of their houses, when we have a 8-inch snowstorm, they're gonna be calling you, why aren't my roads clear? So, once again, I understand they don't wanna pay, none of us wanna pay, but it's just, the facts are what
Not
they
to
are.
mention the dam projects in the presentation as well. That's not a
Correct.
cheap undertaking either.
Property values
It's
would
about
decrease big
property
time.
values, if the roads decrease and one of those dams goes, if they don't maintain those dams, so.
If the roads start falling apart, the school buses won't want to go back there. Post office, they deliver mail. If the roads aren't maintained, it's really gonna impact them.
Right, so. Any other questions, comments? Nope. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
So the next item under work session is County Administrator, FY '25 staff recommended operating and capital budget.
Real fun.
I'm gonna say this many times, this is staff recommended draft. It's draft. The five of us have not one finger laid on this presentation today. After, I don't need a pencil, I need a red magic marker. This is just the first step in the process. This is the first time the five of us have seen the complete document. And I can assure you, things will change, much to the dislike of our staff. Gentlemen, ladies.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mark Willis, County Administrator. To my immediate right is Bruce Miller. He is our Director of Finance and Budget. To his right is Linda Turner, our Deputy County Administrator. And I would like to once again say what our President just said. This is a draft, which is why on my document it still has yellow over it as a draft. What this work session really does for us is it kind of aligns our way of thinking with what we want the commissioners to understand as we go forward next week. We did a lot with this budget, and we're going to get ready to go through this. We're going to change who's talking with particular slides as we go. We are not going to announce that. We're just going to transition from one slide to the next. I will say I'm not going to read the memo itself, but some highlights of the memo are, this is a preempt to the fiscal year 25 staff recommended budget. That budget will take effect on July 1st of 2024. Next week, the 19th of March will be when we will be back here in a public hearing session, and we will present that with the four pillars of this presentation, which would then be this budget itself. We'll talk about the capital improvement projects. We'll also talk about the enterprise funds, and we'll talk in more detail about the department, our Board of Education budget that we have going forward. One final comment, this is a draft. So as we go through again, we're going to hit some highlights. I'm not going to read the slides up there. You can see them as we go forward. If you have any questions, Commissioners, I would say that you ask them as you please, not waiting to the end. That way we capture everything right at the moment. So what slide are we on?
I'm on 3.
All right, okay, here we go, I got 3. So, slide 3, staff recommended budget. The budget is, it's tough. I mean, money is tight. We've looked at about everything that you can look at. We'll go through and we'll outline where we thought that we could balance budgets or individual budgets within the overall budget. We've done everything to reduce costs. We've dived deeply into not just the budget as a whole, but each line item. And as we go through, we're going to talk about revenues and expenditures, and Bruce will cover the next couple of slides on that.
So, thank you, Mark. Next 2 slides are revenues and expenditures. To begin with the revenues, as you can see, property taxes represent the largest revenue stream. Next to that is the income tax at 30%. The other taxes and revenues equal 8%. And finally, the use of fund balance, and I saved that for last because I think as we move forward with this budget, that's going to be the focal point, the real focal point. And we'll get into that as we move forward during the budget process. The next slide is the expenditures. And as you can see, the Calvert County Public Schools represent over 47%, leaving 30.59% for county departments, and then 13.65% for pension and debt service and transfers and state and other representing 5.4%. Next slide.
So the budget process that we really looked at was, we started out with clear guidance, and that guidance was that money's tight, that not only will we likely not be providing additional monies in certain areas, we're probably going to cut those monies in all of those areas. So when we say a flat budget, which is what we told each of the budget holders, so it's not just your department heads, it's your circuit court, it's your district court, it's all of those outside agencies that we provide monies to include the Board of Education. They were told that we're having a flat budget. The caveat to that is there's no such thing as a flat line budget. The reason for that is when you go into an agreement, a contractual agreement, there's always an escalator in that agreement, in that contract. So you will have increases in the budget, whether you add staff, add vehicles, add salary, you're still going to have a slight budget increase. Having said that, not only did we cut budget and keep it as thin as possible, we actually reduced this year's staff recommended budget by $3 million from the adopted budget over last year. I will say that I think the biggest approach that we took this year, with Bruce really at the helm of doing that, is we went back to fiscal year 21, 22, and 23. And each time we looked at that, Bruce evaluated literally, and Bruce has a dedicated staff that assists him. Each time we did that, we looked at every single line item, and we looked at the increase from 21 in food, for example, or in fuel, for example. Then we looked at fiscal year 22, and then we looked at fiscal year 23. And we saw budget creep in there above and beyond what was actually spent. And when those unspent funds are there, they become prior year funding as you move into the next year's budget. It's not that I don't like prior year funding. I would rather have a budget that is direct and to the point and is exactly what we need to execute the responsibilities of fiscally manageable budgets. So we cut out of what we would say a lot of fat that kind of creeped into it over time. And that's partly how we got to that $3 million reduction in what was over a $20 million request for additional services. So that's a big part of the approach that we took.
So, Mark, do
Yes.
you know?
Yes, sir.
I mean, we all recognize that contracts go up, goods go up, fuel costs go up. Do you know what that, I know your reduction was 3 million net. Do we know what that was, those escalator costs were?
The savings within each line item across the board, sir?
Right.
I don't know that Bruce has it broken down that way, but I think overall, a kind of a raw number, we could probably provide that before next weekend, or next week.
Right. Because as you say, flat, it's not always flat, because you have costs that are beyond your control, that are automatically going to go up every year. But you've taken that into account, and this reduction, just to reiterate, is a net reduction.
Correct.
Right.
Yes, sir. So the amount that we reduced the budget is greater than the 3 million, but
Right.
yes, sir.
That was
And
the
we'll try to
point.
get a raw number for you for next
The
week.
point I was trying to get across was that.
Yes, sir.
For the increase in contracted services, is that what you're talking about primarily?
The increase, well, the increase could be in contracted services where you have a contract, say, I could take the county attorney's office, for example. We might have contracted legal, a firm that works with our county attorney's office, and there might be a CPI escalator of, say, 2% each year. So that 2% would be an increase, and that's across every department that uses contractual services. But also, we do take into account, staff will also look at, what we, if we know that fuel's going to go up and we know that the future is kind of dire with fuel, we may add that escalator in there ourselves just so that we don't fall short. But in this case, we looked at it each time. And Bruce gave me a little snippet I can look at here. Operating increases equaling $2,950,000 include $200,000 increase in our contingency within the BOCC, which is how we pay for our, even our legal fees within the county administrator's office, for example. So if there's an increase, that's a dedicated increase. The $765,000 for the pension plan, for example. We know the pension plan's going up, that's accounted for that increase. Other areas like, healthcare systems.
Could be health insurance.
It could be health insurance. So those are really defined areas where we know the cost is going to go up. So above and beyond that, taking that in consideration, we still reduced last year's budget by $3 million.
Right. I'm just trying to get across the point. Somebody's gonna say, well, you only cut 3 million. Well, you cut more than 3 million.
We did in fact
The
cut.
net was 3, so it would be important as we move forward at some point if we can get that
Yes, sir.
information.
And we'll try to get that in a single number for you, just so that you have that before next week.
Add on to what we cut.
Yes, sir. Understood.
So with that, the next slide drills down to what Mark was talking about earlier. You can see in this slide a 3-year trend from 23 to 25 for the major groups, funds. So starting on the left, you have the governmental funds, then the enterprise funds, special revenue funds, and capital improvement plan. In fiscal year 23, the total aggregated appropriation equaled $454 million. And then for fiscal year 24, you can see it increasing to $536 million. And then in fiscal year 25, changing to 563. But I think the notation here is that in the governmental funds, you can see a $3 million decrease, as Mark mentioned, in between 24 and 25. A small decrease also in the enterprise funds. Special revenue funds went up considerably, but that's primarily due for an appropriation of land preservation. They appropriated $11 million, which is their full fund balance. So if that is netted out, again, you would see a decrease in actual appropriations. And then for the capital improvement plan, you can see a considerable increase. And with that, I'd like to transition into the capital improvement plan as we move forward. And that's where we're going to be spending a lot of time evaluating the appropriations and the requests. Mark and his staff have evaluated and pushing out certain items and reconfiguring that a little bit. With the cost of funding increasing, we really need to remain fiscally responsible. I think there is some opportunity here. And then as we move forward, we will definitely be working with you all for guidance and recommendations.
I know with the CIP plan, we're building the CAB building, so that does add expense, but we've doubled in 2 years our CIP monies. I'd really like to see a deep dive into that, most definitely. And there may be some disappointed people, but you either have the money or you don't.
Yes, ma'am. We know that the capital improvement program in general really needs to have an overhaul for several reasons. But we put a lot of money, the school board, for example, the single largest contribution of our capital projects is to the school boards, $139 million over that time. When you talk about monies spent, and we're talking about being fiscally responsible, we have a lot of projects out there. We have parks, we have firehouses, we have other county buildings, we have, you name it, we've got these high dollar buildings like the CAB building that has been on the books for about 20 years. It was originally a sister building to the well, we knocked down the existing building, but that was over a 20-year project that just never happened. The county administrative building, we got to the point where we just had to build it. And it's one of the single biggest, if not the biggest, costly building that we've built probably to date, other than schools themselves. So as we move forward, we really have to realign smartly how we place these projects in the queue, because we have to account for debt service, we have to account for just, are we able to spend the bonding as quickly as some folks might want us to get legislative support for that bonding. So that's what we're going to be looking at as we go between now and your commissioner's recommended budget.
Thank you.
Okay, the next slide we pulled directly from Calvert County Public Schools Superintendent's proposed operating budget that was submitted in January. This shows the county appropriation for FY25 will remain the same as FY24 at $154 million. That is 58% of their revenue that's coming into their budget. and it shows the additional funding that's coming into them from federal, state, and local, as well as transfers. The next slide shows, demonstrates their expenditures that they're proposing for FY25. As you can see from this chart, the largest bulk of their expenditures are salaries and benefits at 80%.
Commissioners, this slide here is the thorn that I think we're dealing with. I have a lot to say about it. I'm going to try to keep it a little bit short just so it's to the point. If you look at where the arrow is, there is a negative amount of $22,592,000. So we mentioned earlier that the state aid to Calvert County Public was decreased, or public schools was decreased. So let's talk a little bit about Cove Point. So as Cove Point liquid natural gas payment in lieu of taxes adjustment matured into a tax credit, and the Constellation, the power plant pilot expired, again, pay in lieu of taxes, the State Department of Assessments and Taxation included the assessed values of these plants in the county's wealth. I think what didn't happen is they didn't account for any discount that was provided to entice these businesses into the state or into Calvert County to begin with. And we're taking that up at the state level for sure. This resulted in this cut that you see here, this $22.5 million. Now, the thing that you'll find interesting about that arrow is there's no arrow to any other single county in the state of Maryland. It's just Calvert County. They have their reasons for that. I don't quite understand it yet, but we're going to keep probing.
So Mark, when I look at this and I see Calvert minus the 22,592, and just keep it close, Caroline, when I see the 460, is that an increase to those counties?
Yes, sir. Everything else on here, if there's a dollar sign by it, it's an increase to that county.
So would it be fair to say if I went down to Prince George's, that's an increase of 57 million?
Yes, sir. That would be correct.
So when I look at this, and I don't know another way of looking at it, you know, this pilot was not a mystery. When this facility went in, it didn't come in, you know, in the middle of the night. It was highly contested. There was lawsuits from the Sierra Club. There was no mystery about this whatsoever. Baltimore, I believe, didn't want it. And when it came in, 868 feet from a residence. And the noise and the light and the pollution and everything to come with it, all the fleas that came with that dog. You know what the state said? Well, you know what? This is going to be a revenue stream for your county. This is going to be jobs. This, and there was all these, and I'm not saying the state said this, but there was all these comparisons to the nuclear facility. And the nuclear facility operated for years and years and years and years and years and was never ever held against us. And now all of a sudden, and if I'm wrong, please correct me if I'm wrong, the school system's being penalized $22 million because we brought in a highly contested, brand new technology that scared the living hell out of a lot of people that lived on that road. It's always daylight there. They bought people's homes out because they were so close to the facility. I lived right there, right across the street. When all this was being done, they closed the road numerous times. State police brought in a helicopter down to the lighthouse down there because they wanted to be able to know if they could evacuate, and that road was closed. How would they do it? They came up with an evacuation road that was just really for show. It doesn't work, and everybody knows it. So they went through all that to just turn around and say, now we're going to cut $22 million from your children because we want that money to go to all these other jurisdictions, and yet we're just supposed to just eat that. We're just supposed to say that's okay. I mean, They didn't put this in any other neighborhood. I think if they would have went to the folks in all these other jurisdictions and said, hey, this is what we're going to do to you, and then 5 or 6 years later, we're just gonna take half the money back. I wonder how many jurisdictions would have went for that. I mean, I think it's disgraceful. I don't know how, if I'm wrong, please, somebody stop me. But if I'm interpreting this right, why are you penalizing one of the smallest jurisdictions in this state? We don't have the representation that the other jurisdictions do. I mean, no disrespect to what we have, but I don't believe we have a senator that even lives in Calvert County. I mean, and that's nothing against Senator Jackson or Senator Bailey. They're doing fine work for us. It's nothing. But we just seem like easy pickings. We just seem like who's going to stand up and say anything? We're 90,000 people. And I think, I can't believe that somebody with a straight face could put $57 additional million to one jurisdiction, 30, and they could say, oh, population. That's fine. That's fine. But when I look at this, it looks like some of it came from us.
It did. Commissioners, I will also point out, I did make an error. Appears as $24,000 was removed from St. Mary's. They have a negative 24, so between St. Mary's and us.
So
But if you look at the bottom of the sheet, or near the bottom, it falls in the unallocated line item. So there's a deficit of 22,000,
So do the people that
or I
live
mean
on-
22 million, right?
Do the people that live on Cove Point Road, now it's their responsibility to help pay for the rest of the state? The people that live around there, it's their responsibility that they deal with everything that comes with this. And I'm not slamming the facility, but it's on a single lane road. There's no, I was there for all that construction. It was not an easy transfer. But why are the Calvert County kids, and even just at the St. Mary's, why are they not as good as the rest of the kids in the jurisdiction? I mean, I watch a whole lot of blue shirts and red shirts budget time, and I sure hope they're paying attention, because I don't believe we cut the school system. I believe every year I've been here, it's been an increase, except for maybe 1 year it was flat, and then 1 year the state came out and said during COVID if we gave an extra $1, they would do $5, and we've complied with everything. We were ahead on blueprint and everything. Why are we being penalized because we've done everything to be compliant with the state? I would really like, it's really a shame that the people that do this don't have the courtesy to come here and tell us in person and tell the people that live here why their children and teachers aren't as important.
Commissioners,
That's-
we fully anticipated that the board may ask us who we have reached out to, who have we communicated with, and I can honestly say at the commissioner level, down to the staff that you see here, even junior staff, to make sure our numbers are correct, we've reached out to no less than, and on multiple occasions, State Department of Assessments and Taxation, or SDAT. We've reached out to the Department of Budget and Management. We've reached out to the Department of Legislative Services. We've reached out to the Department of Education. And I'm talking at the state level education. We've reached out to the governor's staff. We've reached out to our own school board, Board of Education, so many times I can't, in general. I'm not talking about just our local
What's their
board.
response?
They don't understand the $22.5 million reduction any more than we do. They don't like the fact that they now have to live with making up that difference. You lose $22 million, you've got to figure it out. I'm hoping they're figuring out because I haven't seen that yet. I know that along with all budget holders, I don't know if our state's attorney is still sitting behind me, but he had a budget and he was informed as well that all budgets are to be flatlined until the Board of County Commissioners tells me something different. So my point is that we reached out to every single budget owner, including the Board of Education, and expressed the dire need to maintain a flat budget to the nth degree.
But I still am confused that the state can be okay to plus all these jurisdictions and to take that large a chunk. This isn't a few dollars.
So I think the county administrator explained that a little earlier when he said when the pilot expired, the state doesn't capture revenues from pilots. that when the pilot expired, the state captured that new assessment of $54 million, and in their eyes, we got a check for $54 million.
New money.
In new money.
Sure, and I understand
And
that.
that triggered the wealth formula, which triggered the reduction of $22 million.
Oh, and I understand, but where was that discussion 6 years ago, 10 years ago? I remember when I came into office, we had a sheet of paper that explained what we were getting from the revenue, from the pilot, each year broken down to the penny. But I never saw one time, I never heard one thing, and I don't know if anybody in this room has ever heard anything, that the day that that expired, we'd be looking at this.
And we have explained that to our state leaders and all those state agencies. They don't care.
Well, and that's where I'm going.
They don't care.
Well, the reason I mentioned all these agencies is you had mentioned a straight face from anybody that was in a discussion with us. Instead of my opinion, and I should probably keep it to myself, but I think it was more of we were chastised for even questioning why they would take this money from us and not just be grateful that we were just part of the state. It would have been nice that we knew that this was coming, and maybe I should have known that, but I don't know how I would know that based on how we've worked.
But I'm going back to the inception of this, and it was the board right before me, but I mean, they were, like, see, Baltimore turned this down, if I'm correct. And, you know, and it was brought with the caveat is, this was gonna be a revenue stream for your county. We're a small county, we don't have a lot, we don't have airports and things of that nature. We don't have a high population. To just turn around 6 years later? I mean, where was somebody in year 2 or year 3 going, hey, you know, the calculations are looking like this? You know, where was it? But we're supposed to just, oh, well, we should have had a crystal ball to know? I mean, I don't know. I don't buy it. I just don't buy it at all.
Apparently, there's been several issues with SDAT at the state level. And we've actually talked to, as Commissioner Hand said, we've talked to our state senators, and they're looking into that. Apparently, that whole committee is getting reviewed. Hopefully, something, changes on our behalf coming out of that. So.
We keep working on that, and the deputy administrator's been working at the governor's office trying to get the governor to come down and visit Calvert County, and we think that that's a possibility into the near future. And you know, this is, I hate to say water under the bridge because you can't get that back, but I think that this is something where we need to get the revenue back, and how we do that is something that the three of us here are going to be working with, with whomever we have to work with to make sure that we have that going forward. So
So, Mark, did the state have any prior conversation with the BOE?
Prior to this cut, it is
prior
my
to this
understanding
cut.
that they did not. They saw it coming no more than we saw it coming.
So we all found out when the state budget was released.
Right, it was when the state budget was released that they found out.
They were stunned as well.
And to be honest, when this happened, we all thought the state had made some mistake, and that, all we had to do was reach out, meet with them, and explain, we didn't have $54 million in new money coming this year. This money's been built in our budget for years. And we had a staff person tell us one day, you've just gotten away with it for 10 years, we're just catching up to you.
Right. We
So-
should be thankful that we were being supplemented.
Yeah, so, and if I'm gonna be honest, what we're hearing in Annapolis is you're a wealthy county, just raise taxes. You can cover it. You have a wealthy constituent base, just raise your taxes and they'll cover it.
But that's their answer to everything.
That is.
It is. You know, when they
Everything
took
they
highway
say.
user fees, remember gas tax? Remember the teacher pensions? That's $10 million a year that nobody talks about, that's been going on for years, that was funding that used to come into this county, that doesn't come anymore.
So-
But yet, it's another hit, and Blueprint, you're gonna put Blueprint in, and then the same year, you're gonna pull this money back? Wow.
So just want everybody to understand, we've known this since December, and we have worked vigorously, along with the superintendent, trying to get this resolved to no avail. We tried to meet with the governor, we have not been successful, but, we didn't do this, and we've told them, we don't have $22 million we can just give the school system today to make this up. And as Commissioner Hart says, we've got Blueprint that we have to address in the next 18 months. And they're not gonna help us on that either, just for you all out there listening, that they use the wealth formula when they're doing those allocations for Blueprint. I think, we're gonna get $2 or $3 million to help us in Blueprint which is probably gonna cost us 30 or more. So you all are very wealthy and they think you should be paying your fair share, just so you know what they think up there. But I want to thank our delegation. Our senators have been very active.
Oh, yeah, I'm,
They have
I'm
been,
not throwing anything disparaging against them, but I'm just pointing out.
This is the state.
You're right. How I believe, my personal, that they don't, I don't want to say don't care, but I think our delegation, our senators are pushing for us as hard as they can, but I think it's falling on deaf ears.
Well, every meeting, just for the public to know that I've sat in on, there's a line drawn in the sand by the state. There's no wiggle room. There's no compromise. In plain English, it's suck it up. This is what it is. And raise taxes has been thrown around. The five of us do not want to raise taxes, but that seems to be their answer to everything that they're doing to the counties in Maryland. So just so the public knows, this is a tremendous hit, and I believe there's more to come.
So a final bullet point on this particular slide before I move on. The state's fiscal year 25 proposal allocated $89.1 million in direct services to Calvert County primary and secondary public school programs. That's a 20.2% reduction. That's a reduction in what we would have received over last year. So obviously it's going downward instead of upward for all the same reasons that we just talked about.
And when are we scheduled to get the superintendent's budget request? Do we have it on schedule yet? I think
Well,
he's presenting it Thursday night to the board. for
Yes,
approval, so.
Bruce, go ahead. Yeah, it's Thursday night. They're providing it during public
But
hearing.
then he's gotta come to us, but we don't have that scheduled yet
Well, he's scheduled for next Tuesday.
with us.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Because
That's what I'm asking.
remember, we have four pillars of our budget. It's your operating money, it's your capital, it's your enterprise funds, and then it's the school board. And those four pillars equal that big number that you see at the end of each year. And it's a lot of money.
So those of you that are interested should watch the BOE meeting on Thursday where he's gonna present his budget and he's gonna tell you what he's gonna ask us for,
Or where he's gonna cut,
or any of that. And it changes every day, so I'm anxious to see what comes out Thursday night.
So he did give us a prior look a couple weeks ago.
That's changed.
Couple of times.
Changed last night. There's a new number today, so.
Just for the record.
So on the next slide, again, despite declining enrollment, this is school board still, despite the declining student enrollment, funding by the county to the Board of Education, Calvert County Public Schools is held at fiscal year 24 maintenance of effort, which is, there's a formula that goes into that, but it's that requirement by state to provide per student capita, and that's how we help generate their budget. So that 154.7 million was what it was last year. The population, student population has gone down slightly by a couple hundred students, but we've maintained it at 154.7. We've had several meetings with the Board of Education. I mean, they've been good meetings. We just haven't received reductions from their budget the way that we would have thought we would have received, so that we could have a balanced budget across the board. So we continue to work with them. I would say funding MOE over 18 million in 24, 5.7 million in 23 for the last fiscal years. And then remember, I had mentioned earlier that talk about what our capital improvement plan is with the board, and that's the Board of Education. That's 139.7 million. Now that's spent over time, but that's a lot of money that we already know is dedicated to the school system.
And Mark, just explain, if you can, why it's so hard to cut the CIP for the schools that we already have planned.
So the way that just for in general for the public, the capital improvement program is a program that really, it's a 6-year program. And I say 6 years because you're always in a year and then you're planning 5 years out. So you have programs, you have projects that might span a couple of years. Like a school doesn't get built in a year. It's probably 3 years. It might be designed in a year and start building, and it might be finished in the next 2 years. The issue with that is that when we dedicate to the Board of Education that we're going to support that process, they appoint monies to those particular projects, and they lock that money on for you in that year. So, for example, Northern Elementary School is, middle school is one of those schools that's going to receive a bunch of money. It's already approved by the state. If we went into our capital project or a program right now and pushed that school, our contribution to that school out, then that school wouldn't get built. It wouldn't get renovated. So our money is tied to their money, and they're very strict, and once it's assigned, it's assigned. And if we try to move it, they give it to somebody else. So
But the other issue is that Northern Middle, as you say, is already on the books. The state has committed.
yes.
Based on our new calculation for wealth formula, if we push that school out, the state's gonna pay less of it. So we need to keep that school moving to keep the state locked in at a higher
That's right.
percentage.
We would end up paying more, and also, we don't even know when we would be able to get it back on the books based on their schedule of allocated monies.
I'm more worried about what we pay than I am when it gets done.
Yes, sir, understood.
When we're
But my
talking
point is I don't know when we would get it back on the books, not how much they would pay, but when we would get it back.
And
Yes, sir.
just for the public, the percent the state pays versus what we pay for that school.
So it's a little bit different, and John, you might be able to help me.
For
It's,
that school, I believe Shashida said the state is locked in at 62 or 63%.
that particular school is at a higher rate. It got a 5% bump in the allocation that the state would cover because the school board does, I think, a really outstanding job of trying to maintain what they have. And when they went in and looked at the books, they said because of your due diligence on your maintenance program, we're going to provide an extra 5% to that particular school. But they take every project independent of one another.
And if we were to reschedule that school, the state would probably come in, based on what we know today, probably in the 40s.
Yes.
And just for the public's information, since we're talking about wealth formula, if you look, Charles and St. Mary's counties all get bigger shares of state aid because of the wealth formula. In
Yes, sir.
Charles County, the state pays more than 50% of the operation of the school system.
That's fair, right? Right? You know, I mean, they come out and want to promote business, and Maryland's open for business, and how many times we hear the state come down here? Really? Really? You know, they just look at it as it's revenue for them, and then when they come for the roads and everything, what do we always hear when it's us? Oh, sorry, we're out of money. We are so far down on their pole, it's not even funny. But this is embarrassing, and I just don't know. You can't find a politician and not say he doesn't care about kids and care about education. Do you see it? Because I don't. I see a $22 million cut at a time when you're supposed to be putting money into education. The blueprint is all we've heard. How much time and money was spent on blueprint and how this is going to take Maryland to one of the top of the school systems. Not only do you not fund it, but then you cut on top of it? Because we had the audacity to open up a liquid natural gas facility that Baltimore didn't want on a single lane road. Boy, saw us coming.
And just to reiterate, we've been working with the superintendent and the school board leadership since this became aware of this, so.
No, yeah,
We've been
I'm not
engaged.
slamming them. I'm just that all of a sudden last year, no mention. And then we said, what, December?
The state budget got released.
Wow.
And back to your comment, Mike, about the MOE, we have excessively been above the MOE except for 2017, going back all the way to 2012.
That year we
have
went
gone
flat.
at-
We
were
did
flat in
maintenance
two-
of effort.
Yes.
Okay, in closing, we just want to remind everyone that the staff recommended budget will be available online on the county's website following this meeting today. We will also have budget books if anyone wants to review a hard copy at each of the county libraries. They will be available after the meeting today. There's a public hearing scheduled for next Tuesday, March 19th at 7 PM. That hearing will be held here. And then after receiving this feedback, this board will meet with county leadership and directors to start reviewing for their budget, the commissioner's budget, and they will hold a public hearing for the public in May. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners, I would like to say, subject to any additional questions you may have.
Just glad the Girl Scouts came in today.
Yes, sir. We're gonna,
Can we schedule them for every day we're gonna talk
we're gonna
about?
have a feeding frenzy here in a little
Spread
while.
those cookies out for the next.
There are two finance staff members in the back. So between Dawn Wood and Beth Richmond, and of course Bruce, and there are others that I'm probably not mentioning, but I can tell you that it's been a tremendous struggle to get to this point, and without those two ladies in the back, we wouldn't be here, not ready. I don't know that we're ready, but I wouldn't be this far advanced without those two back there. So a lot of great work, a lot of hours go into this, and, you know, I can sit up here and talk about it, but I can't do what they do back there, so.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. We're not gonna be ready till we get the BOE's request.
We're not, and
That's true.
I'm waiting.
Any
All
other
right.
questions? Comments? Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
That brings us to public comment, Mr. County Attorney.
Thank you, sir. The board adopted a resolution in 1989 intending to maintain the order and decorum of the governmental process. A copy is found here to my right. Persons are welcome to address the Board of County Commissioners on any matter germane to the business of county government. Those addressing the board shall not be uncivil, rude, vulgar, profane, or otherwise disruptive to the conduct of the board's business. All speakers must identify themselves, whether speaking as an individual, you'd be allocated 2 minutes, or as the designated representative of a group, where you'd be allocated 5. For those attending virtually, if you wish to speak, please press star 9 or use the raise your hand function. The Ethics Commission has asked us that we remind speakers of public comment that lobbyists include those who seek to influence public policy, and lobbyists must register in advance. Is there anyone in the room who wishes to provide public comment? Okay, we do have Mr. Cormier has joined us virtually, raised his hand if you'd like to speak.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Joseph Cormier, and I'll be speaking on behalf of Calvert County Special Education Citizens Advisory Committee. As the chairperson, I'd like to invite all parents of a student with a IFSP or an IEP to please go to www.marylandparentsurvey.com. That's www.mdparentsurvey.com to take the annual Maryland Special Education Parent Involvement Survey. As your representative on the Maryland Center for School Safety for Special Education Parents, I want to invite the county to join us for the July 17th and 18th School Safety Conference. It's called the Prepare 2024, Plan, Reflect, and Educate in Ellicott City. Lots of great information to bring back to the county from that. And for our students, grades 3 to 12, and our homeschool students, grade 3 to 12, the Prepare 2024 Art Showcase is now accepting submissions. You can go to the schoolsafety.maryland.gov webpage for the Maryland Center for School Safety to get more information on that art program. Tonight, Calvert CCAC will have a general membership meeting online. You can find the login information on the school's website. You can search for CCAC, S-E-C-A-C, in the search bar, or look under quick links to get the agenda. We look forward to having everyone join us April 17th at Huntingtown High School at 6:30 for the Staff Appreciation Awards. I'm going through those nominations right now, and we have just shy of 120 nominations this year, and the stories are incredible, so I hope that you'll join us to hear more about that. We look forward to seeing this budget come to fruition. I know that times are tough, but staff are what make the day go, so we hope that you will support the BOE in supporting their staff. And I know there's a lot of talk about only looking at cuts that don't involve the classroom, but our instructional assistants and our building service workers and our cafeteria staff and our front office staff are all integral to the school day. So it's not just what's physically in the classroom. Our students learn all over the building. So we appreciate all that you're doing. And if there's anything we can do advocacy-wise, please reach out to us. We're happy to write letters and make calls and emails to our state legislatures and our governor's office. So again, Calvert CCAC is always looking for new membership, so please join us. If you've got any questions, you can reach out to me directly, and we appreciate the support of our county commissioners. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you. That brings us to commissioner reports. Commissioner Cox.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you all just heard, we have a tough budget in front of us. So I want to thank staff for all the work that they have done. And we're going to have some tough decisions in front of us, but we're going to make the tough decisions that we have to, and I think we'll be okay. And hope everybody has a safe and happy St. Patty's Day weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Arlen?
The budget process is going to be extremely challenging, there's no doubt about it. Cuts have already been made, there's more cuts to come. A lot of time and effort has gone into it already, and I'm quite sure you guys are going to be scratching your head a bit more before this is over with. But thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you. Commissioner Hart?
Nothing today, Mr. President. I'll get too spun up, so it's just, yeah.
You mean you're not already?
Yeah.
I just thought I noticed that.
Yeah. You just don't do that.
I'm sorry.
To kids. You know what I mean? You want to, $22 million to the state of Maryland's like you finding $10 in a laundromat. In your washer and dryer. It's nothing to them. You attack a school budget? Really? And the only response is we'll just raise taxes. That is so weak. That is so lazy. There was a surplus in this state, what, a year and a half, 2 years ago? We go from a surplus to you got to cut schools? Wow. But see, we don't count. And I tell people that all the time. They go, oh. Watch these guys. Watch these political ads. There's a guy spent $38 million in supposedly his own money and lost. Why would you spend $38 million for some job pays $200,000 a year? Why? Why would you do that?
I'm sorry.
So, no, I got nothing to say.
Commissioner Brasso?
Okay. Like the other commissioners said, I want to thank staff for all the work they put into budgeting, and I want the public to know, not only do these employees work their regular work hours, but many after hours have been put in to getting us to this point. It's been a difficult time, and they've worked very, very hard. I attended Jefferson Patterson Park meeting this week, and also we had our ribbon cuttings in Dunkirk and Lusby for the new, and Sheriff Cox, I'm always calling it the wrong name. I won't even say what I want to say, but Dunkirk Station.
District Station.
District 1 and District 3.
And very excited that we have this in the county now. I want to stress to everyone how important this is. We cut the ribbon, and that evening we had a robbery at CVS in Dunkirk and a robbery at CVS in Chesapeake Beach. So thank you for being proactive, Sheriff.
But can I expand on that?
You said you didn't have nothing to say.
I know.
And twice you've said, I don't have
know.
nothing to say.
And here the sheriff's office, the state's attorney's doing everything they can. And did those places press charges?
No.
No.
And that's what's wrong. That's what's wrong. Men and women out there risking their lives, doing everything they can, respond to a 911 call, and then you go, no. Any jurisdiction that doesn't enforce the law goes down. Every single one. And
Commissioner, we still have the ability to make them accountable or to do that.
oh, I know, and you guys doing everything you can, but you steal and you don't press charges? What? God, I was born 20 years too late, I'm telling you.
Were they robberies or thefts?
Shoplifting.
Thefts, okay.
It's a shame that, to your point, that our men and women in blue go into harm's way and then CVS doesn't press charges. It's just a darn shame.
Never mind.
A lot of stores have similar loss prevention programs. It's not just CVS.
I know.
But
Just wait till he has something to say. You get done, Commissioner Grasso?
Okay, yes, I am.
All right, thank you. So, just a few things. I want to remind everybody, the public hearing tonight at the Southern Community Center at 7 PM on the Poe Acre STD. And then our public hearing on our budget, March 19th at 7 PM, which is right here in this room. On this Saturday, the Women of the World's event is going to occur by Zoom. I don't know the information for you to get into that, but anybody, I think, can if they want to.
Yes, they can, sir. They can register right through the library.
Register through the libraries if you want to attend that virtual event. Last Saturday night, I attended the Calvert Sportsman's Wildlife Game Dinner. It was wonderful.
thank you.
Had, somebody told me yesterday, you had 11 entrees on the menu. Where can you go and find 11 different entrees on the menu? So,
A lot of work.
it was a lot of work, and I got invited to eat leftovers last night. Thank you very much, which is always good. And we've talked about the budget a lot today. I do want to thank the superintendent and the leadership of the board we have been having some meetings trying to figure this out. It certainly is not our intention to harm the student population, but there are going to be impacts. You can't make cuts and not have impacts. And we're going to have them on our own, but we haven't got a hold of our budget yet. So I too want to thank staff. It takes a lot of work, a lot of effort, and you don't get recognized enough for what you do. So we do thank all that you all do. That's all I have. Commissioner Grasso?
Motion. John Norris, do we have anything to add to this motion?
Commissioner, you should have the updated motion. We're asking to meet in the exec session pursuant to and you can just say so moved after I say this, 3-305B1I to discuss personnel matters that include promotion, demotion, thank you. Assignment, employment, discipline, compensation, removal, resignation of officials and employees or appointees over whom the board has jurisdiction, and 3-305B8 to consult regarding pending litigation.
So moved.
Thank you. Second.
I have motion and a second that we go into executive session. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Everyone have a great day.